Welcome back to another episode of Lit and Bruised, an Atlanta literary podcast. I'm John Carroll.
And I'm Matt DeBenedictis. We've got a really great episode today, but first we do want to mention that we are now available on Stitcher, the streaming service. There's a lot of really great podcasts on there to check out, such as LeVar Burton Reads. I mean, come on. It's LeVar Burton reading short stories. It's kind of magic. And if you aren't listening to it right now, you should really listen to it. But after listening to a whole lot of Lit and Bruised on Stitcher. This isn't a commercial for Stitcher. It's just something that I know I myself really use a lot for streaming podcast. And there's also some other really good ones to check out on there, such as the Origin Story podcast, as well as Unladylike, both Atlanta-based podcasts. On today's episode, we have spoken word poets Nate Mask and Ryan J. joining us. They are currently on tour with their Nobody Likes Us, But We're Here Anyway tour, which is just a really great name for two awesome artists from Atlanta. Currently, they are in Victoria, British Columbia, where after that, they'll be making their trek back down to the U.S. for a string of dates in Washington. If you're in that area, definitely check them out. It was great to sit down and kind of just get to know these guys, as well as trade tour stories and talk about slam poetry competitions, how they met, how they got into spoken word. And, well, it's just a really great episode, and things get out of hand right from the get-go because we talk about end-of-the-world stuff, zombies, and what will you take with you when everything's going to shit. So we hope you enjoy the episode. So, John, before we started recording...
What's up?
You're sitting around, and you're reading your Doomsday Prepper magazines at the same time that you're like, I'm not really too deep into this. But you've got magazines, well, not just websites.
You need magazines, though, because you got to stay up on the latest developments in the prepping world. You know, maybe there's like a new generator or water purifier. You know, I know you're making fun of me for this.
I'm not. I mean, it's just, I'm not making funny. I mean, I understand it because I have that same inclination. I want to just hoard shit because people are just going to go nuts.
It's a weird thing. I think when I think about it, I don't really think the world's going to end where I'm going to be cruising around Walking Dead style, like Rick or something. You know, everything's going to be completely gone. But I do think about things like Katrina. Yeah. And I think about how you could be out of resources for a month or something, you know, potentially if it's that bad of a situation. So I think it's smart to have things readily available.
Yeah.
So I also think about our grandparents' generation. Mm-hmm. They always had food around. You remember that? You go to your grandma's house and they always got something canned and things like that. And I feel like our generation, everything's so convenient and instant. It's kind of like you buy groceries for 3 to 5 days and then you're kind of out of food. And I think about that. I'm like, maybe I should have some more canned goods laying around. You know, so that's kind of where my stuff is rooted in, really.
Yeah. Well, in your bag for if shit goes down, that you have a bag. How many hours is it that it can prepare you for?
Well, I have one bag that is set for, it's a 72-hour bag. So because that actually, I think the CDC and the government websites, they actually say that you should be prepared for 72 hours because it might take that long for people to get to you in case of emergency. But then I have a lot of other stuff just because it's kind of like a fun hobby. It's kind of I wasn't in Boy Scouts, so I just it's fun. You get this weird thing. You're this machete can also dig trenches and light fires and whatever, you know, you have these tools and they always have all these multi-purposes. Yeah. And I just find it really interesting. It's kind of fun. So
in your 72-hour bag, do you have a book or anything in there? So let's say you're held up, you're waiting for someone to rescue you.
No, but I mean, I think as I'm heading out the door, I might, just reach over on the shelf, just pick something up. But that's a good thought, though.
Yeah,
I
you should probably get in there. Because what if you grab your own book?
Oh yeah, that would suck. I would. Oh god, I have a blackout poetry book. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sick. You know, it's anytime you write a book. I don't know about y'all, but you kind of don't want to write it or read it ever again, other than if you have to do it for a reading or something like that. But yeah, you're just like, oh man, I've got to read this thing. It's actually when I put out any kind of book, I don't really read it for a year.
Yeah, that's probably best.
I mean, unless I have to. I just don't want to, you know? I mean, then about a year later, you're like, seeing it there, like, maybe I'll flip through it. And you're like, not too bad, you know?
Yeah.
It's okay. Are you prepared for any kind of doomsday scenario, Matt?
No, I mean, I collect vinyl, so I'm done. I die with my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it. I mean, my thing is I probably wouldn't bug out unless that's a term meaning run away from the danger. But unless something really happened, I wouldn't really leave my house. I mean, I've got a lot of vinyl too. There's things here that I want, you know, and things that I have. I mean, there's a lot of things you can't carry with you. So, but you know, if power went out, I could.
I can't carry 4 dogs and like crates and crates of vinyl.
I was telling you this earlier, which I think is fun to share, is that about my dog a first aid kit, because I was reading about how your dog should be prepared, and I was like, well, she can't go out and buy things herself. I guess I got to go out there and get her some little doggy first aid medic stuff, you know. So anyway, but
I
hey,
have no idea how to segue this.
This was your idea.
It was.
I had an idea. I had an idea to segue this whole conversation into our wonderful guests here. So we're just going to do a hard stop. So Matt, why don't you introduce who we have with us here today?
We have 2 wonderful poets that I've really loved seeing both of y'all perform at numerous things like Mad Men and Poets. Is it Poets and Mad Men or Mad Men
and Poets?
Okay, yeah. I always have to correct myself on that one. And, of course, Java Monkey and other things. But Nate Mask and is it
Ryan J. Yeah.
Ryan J. I was the Facebook name, but
No, it's cool.
it's Ryan J.
Nate Mask and Ryan J.
Yeah.
What's up?
Welcome, guys.
How's it going?
Great. Thank you all so much for coming on the show today. Sorry we introed with such a strange topic.
I mean, I keep a baseball bat in my trunk at all times, so you know.
Hey,
I was thinking of the movie Seeking Friends for the End of the World. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Steve Carell in like a doomsday situation, and he runs off. And anyway, whatever. Yeah.
The one thing that you know that they actually tell you when you're like preparing things and stockpiling is that you shouldn't tell people. So it's probably a bad thing that I just said this on a podcast. Granted, people don't know where I live.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Because we're here.
Hey, you guys are cool though. You guys come on by. You know, I've got enough food to last for about 10 people for 10 years.
Oh,
just kidding. I don't really.
I was like the 72-hour bag.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You ever seen the Doomsday Prepper show? There's like people that have like food. They're like, we've got food for 15 people for 15 years. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I just feel like that's significantly underestimating my ability to eat food.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I think I could put a bigger dent in that than the average person.
Well, but maybe you have somebody small there who's not going to eat as
That's
much.
true.
Am I like even out? They're like a 1 meal a day guy, and you're like rocking the 4th meal.
You can only have
Yeah.
one stress eater in a group, though.
Yeah, I'm not a stress eater.
Yeah.
I
am.
You're a stress eater.
I'm a survival eater. Like, I just feel like I'm gonna die if I don't eat like
Yeah.
4 to 5 times a day.
What about you?
No, I eat throughout the day, so I'm like, I take a really, really long time to eat. It's only one meal, but it's like 5 hours. So like,
You just graze
oh yeah,
on it.
I'm a turtle when it comes to eating.
He's like put a buffet out on the table and
it's-
just like walk by.
Give me like a large salad and I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So I could be like me and Nate probably balance each other out because he eats everything and I
That's
eat
true.
little to nothing. So it's like, you know, we're probably like a black hole in everything inside of it. So.
Do you guys have any post-apocalyptic poetry?
Yes, I write
Ryan
about zombies all
definitely
the time.
does.
What?
Yeah.
You
20%.
do?
Yeah, that's like my thing. Like I just
Oh man, we
zombies
might
and
have
time
to.
travel.
We might have to get you to read some of that today if you got any of that. I know y'all were going to read something, but I might kind of vouch for that one or push for that one.
Actually, as soon as you started talking about that, I was like, I know what Ryan's gonna read.
Yeah, but it was like instantly in my head. I was like, this is it. Yeah, this is what's happening. Yeah.
So what's your guys' story? I mean, are you guys from Atlanta?
Sort of.
You got it first.
You got it. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, you got. I think I feel like. Well, never mind. Anyway, whatever. Atlanta born and raised. Was born in Stone Mountain, moved out to Snowville back in like 2001, and then went to school down in Macon. Got my master's degree, and then came back up here and started doing poetry and stuff. And it's been a wild ride ever since, pretty much. So like, never left Atlanta, never really, except for the whole Macon thing. So
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that, but it's also like I don't know.
How old are you now, Ryan?
24, turning 25 in August.
You got a while, man.
yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
You got to make your grand exit out of Atlanta, even if it's for like 6 months. Maybe you could go up to New York and do that thing and like fail miserably and come on back, you know?
Be like, well, all my hopes and dreams are dashed. Yeah.
It's always so funny when people, I'm 36 now, but in my early 20s, you'd always have like the friends that were like, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
And I was always a pretty rational guy. Like, I'm surprised I'm not like an insurance adjuster, you know, because I'm always like, maybe you guys shouldn't be climbing on that, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And had all these friends, and they're like, I'm going to go to New York. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. I was like, you got a job? They're like, no. And I was like, you got a place to stay? They're like, no. And I was like, well, man, it doesn't sound like you could make it in Atlanta with that kind of plan, you know? And that was the other thing, too. A lot of them, they couldn't make it in Atlanta. I was like, man, if you can't make it in Atlanta in, like, the early 2000s, like, you're going to struggle in New York. And, you know, about a quarter of them would make it.
Yeah.
Some of them would, like, they'd be slackers here. They get up there, kick in the high gear. It kind of woke them up a little bit. And then a lot of them, they'd come back damaged, you know, like a chunk of their soul had been swallowed.
Yeah.
And it would take them, it was like a bad breakup, but it was weird. It was like a 6-month relationship, and it would take them like 2 years to get over it, kind of thing. You know, you're just like, man, but hey, man, if you ever just want to venture out, New York's great this time of year. Hey, I'm all for it.
That sounded so convincing.
Oh, exactly. What about you, man?
Yeah. So I was born here, but we moved when I was real young. So I grew up in Delaware. My dad teaches at a college there, so we were supposed to go, and he was going to get a job at a better college, but he didn't. So my parents are still there, and that was like 25 years ago. So yeah, plans don't work out sometimes. So then I eventually came back here because I was going to Georgia State, and then I dropped out. Like, you know, Ryan said, we balance each other out. He has 2 degrees, I have 0. So, like, on the average, like, we're cool.
At one for both of us.
Yeah. So, and then, I got into, like, I was always, like, writing and stuff, like, in college and in high school a little bit. And then kind of got to a point where I stumbled upon Java Monkey when I was in, like, a rough spot and just, like, fell in love and just kept going back, and then got into it, like, way more serious after that, with, like, the slams and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Nice. So did y'all meet at Java Monkey?
Yeah.
I thought he didn't like me at first. I was like, this motherfucker hates me. Like,
it was just genuine apathy. That's really what it was.
there's something you want to hear.
Matt and I, we have a similar relationship because when we first met, we met like the day we were like moving in together because we had like a mutual roommate.
Yeah.
And I had a similar feeling. I was like, man, this motherfucker hates me.
Yeah.
And then
I just hate everybody.
Yeah. you're a lot nicer these days. I would say you hated everybody back then, but and I was like, man, I'm a lot. Like, I've always been a lot. So I was like, man, if I meet you and you kind of don't like take to me kind of quick, I'm like, shit. Yeah. But I wear you down, you know. I wear you down. I wore Matt down, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's looking at me right now like, yeah, fuck you, man.
Yeah, it was just kind of wild because I had been doing poetry for 4 years down in Macon and hadn't really interacted with the Atlanta scene as far as poetry goes at all. And then so came up here and was like, nobody knows who I am. And I feel like, you know, it was just kind of weird trying to get in and get involved because it's such a tight-knit community when it comes to spoken word. You know, everybody knows each other. Everybody's like family. And I wasn't part of that family. So I was like, well, I'm going to make sure all these motherfuckers know who I am. Like, they're going to know me. And then, like, yeah, so it was just...
Gotta make that mark.
Yeah,
Did you diss them at like every day?
I definitely wrote some diss poems, at least one.
You're like, yeah, fuck all y'all. Fuck your family.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really bad. But I mean, no, I got to know everybody and everything. And then it was so, like, what turned, I guess I'm not going to speak for Nate, but what felt like a dislike turned into a kindling friendship, I'd say.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a dislike. I just didn't know who Ryan was. And he's like, oh, I saw you somewhere. I was like, oh, cool. Because like I don't really talk to people I don't know because like I don't like it. So, but then like once I like saw Ryan at like open mics and he started coming to slams, I was like, oh, he's dope. I should be friends with him.
And then you go up and introduce yourself, and he's like, yeah, I've introduced myself to you like seven times.
Yeah, you talk around me in conversations.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, I'll talk to the people who know him that I know while he's there. And eventually, we're cool.
Words.
That's the worst, though, if you meet somebody or you're talking to somebody somewhere, like at a show or a reading or something, and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, like, I'm John. They're like, yeah, I know. I've met you before. I'm like, oh, awesome. That's so cool. So sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I don't introduce myself to people. Just, just save that.
Good way.
Yeah, the head nod's been my save. It's like,
yeah.
It's not a commit. It's just like, okay. There's some familiarity.
Yeah.
You know what it is. I don't.
Yeah.
But we can work with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's definitely happened at least once where I've gone to an open mic or at Java actually where somebody's been like, hey, you remember me? And I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have talked to you before.
It's the best though. It's the best when they use your name because then you're like, all right, cool. This guy knows who I am. It's like, it's this little heads up. And they're like, hey, what's up, John? You're like, what's up, man? So good to see you. Like, man, dude.
Hey, you.
Yeah.
What's
Buddy,
up?
pal,
Hey,
friend.
hey, chief. Yeah. Give him the name. Like, say sport. What's going on?
Because it's
1950. Like,
turn into a dad. I have 2.5 kids and a white picket fence.
I'm like Tim Allen on Home Improvement.
I still want to know what Wilson's face looks like. That's really what I'm upset about.
Yeah, he died. Wilson died.
Well, that was
in real
I would say like in the show.
Because I don't
Like,
episode dark as hell.
His funeral, they just have the like sheet up to his nose.
I was just thinking the casket would just have a line of fence through the middle of it.
Or just like a window. It's a closed casket, but there's a window. You can see his eyes.
see his eyes.
He apparently was a smoker. I was reading about it. I don't know why I was reading about it. And I'd seen him before as like, he'd been an actor for a long time. That was kind of like one of his last things he ever did. And it's weird, but Tim kills him in the final episode. he has him on tool time, and then Al grabs him from behind and puts him in a chokehold, and then Tim takes like a table saw, but he pulls it off the table and just
this is going to be a group piece now. We're going to write this poem when we go home.
What's crazy though is when he killed him, he like cut him right off the face there.
Decapitated him, but like halfway up the face.
Yeah, he can still recognize it.
Who's got advice now?
Don't seem so wise now. You do, Wilson.
It's not safe from behind the fence. When you're not behind the fence.
What a weird like show and character. That show, that whole show is based on like Tim Allen being good at grunting. Like that's weird, man. Like he didn't even have a catchphrase. His catchphrase was making noises.
It's like borderline like a Scooby Doo noise.
Yeah. It's like you needed like Scooby treats. There's an episode.
Every decade, someone's got to make money by just making noises. That's their thing.
Who is it this decade?
Yeah, who's going on now?
There might be a couple people this
Mumble rap.
decade.
Just in general. Who would you say is the grunter or the?
I mean, because definitely a decade before would have been Winslow from Police Academy.
Oh, What?
He made all the noises?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't mean necessarily in a sitcom, just
No.
in general,
Just in general, someone's got to like make their mark by just making noises.
The 90s were really popular for that because I mean, like Martin, he'd just say "Damn Gina,"
but
then he'd say it in that like high pitched voice,
Yeah.
But you guys ever watch that show Extras?
I've heard of it. I haven't gotten into it. That's Ricky Gervais, right?
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. He after the British Office, he went out and did that. There's I think it's on Netflix.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Yeah,
but it's funny because it's all about him being an extra. And in the first season, and the second season, he has like a sitcom, and his dreams come true, and blah blah blah. I just ruined it for everybody listening. But I mean, it's definitely worth watching. But it's funny that like, he has like a catchphrase that it was just kind of like a thing he would say.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a super catchphrase, but then the show gets produced, and then they make him say it a certain way, and it's just like awful, and he hates it. And he's like, he's got his big dream, but the devil got his due, But classic.
To get back to your question, Ryan, because I just had to think about it.
Yeah.
It's designer.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Make noises over Mike Dean beats. I'm in.
Yeah.
It gets me hyped.
For sure. I don't have to understand a word you're saying.
Yeah,
as long
it doesn't
as,
matter.
Who did you say?
Designer.
That's spelled with 2 I's.
Who is designer?
He's just.
You heard of the song Panda?
Nah, man.
I got broads in
Panda.
Atlanta.
I'm the worst for this
Panda.
stuff.
Panda.
We talk about this because Matt's really into hip hop, and last episode I actually was like had to confess that I'd never listened to Scarface, and
Like
You see, little look on his face. It just got
like
so
at all?
offended.
Like
I mean, look at me. Do I look like I listen to Scarface? It's nothing.
I mean,
I've listened to a lot of things over the years, but knowing like the rap Bible is definitely not one of my strong suits. I mean, you want to talk about like weird indie rock? I can go down that with your weird subgenres. I definitely appreciate it and like it a lot. But so anybody that's like come out in the last 5 years,
well, like mumble rap in particular, if you're talking about the rap Bible, mumble rap's more like Scientology. Like it's like it's like we're close, but not really.
Is that what Drake is?
No. I would say Drake's like
sing song rap.
Yeah, I would say he's
like the Willie Nelson of rap. Like the talk rap, because Willie would talk sing. You're like listening, like, is he talking or is he singing?
That's Drake. Yeah, that's Drake, definitely.
I bet I'm the first person to ever call Drake the Willie Nelson of rap.
That's a first.
That might actually be pretty awesome. Well, you guys are welcome to use it.
I would say, isn't like Snoop and Willie Nelson like really cool?
They have been.
Yeah, they are cool.
They definitely have the whole
cool
weed thing in common.
He's cool with Martha Stewart.
That's why I think Martha Stewart just smokes a ton of weed.
Probably.
I think Snoop for a long time. I feel like she got out of jail way too calm. Way too calm.
Just making all those cookies and shit. Like
just making edibles for Snoop. I feel like Snoop just hangs
Gets
out
of prison, she's sitting home. You won't let me do my show. I'll make stuff. I'll get my own show now.
Right.
I mean, when was the last? I mean, does Snoop even make music anymore?
Yeah,
people don't buy it.
Well, he was Snoop Lion for a while. I remember that.
He abandoned that quick. That was bad.
That was terrible.
But like Never Left, that was like an album or so ago. That was great, but he did it all like kind of death row style beats.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So and like the cover is actually it's like a picture of him from the Chronic that wasn't used, like came from
nice.
Okay. So the whole album's got that feel to it. Yeah. Well, in terms of mumble rap, Ryan, I've seen you perform an awesome piece about mumble rap.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really wild writing that. It literally started off as a Facebook post, as do most of my ideas. Where it was just like
the best ones, though, usually are.
Yeah, it was. I was literally just mulling over the idea. It's like, would mumble rappers survive the zombie apocalypse? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they'd be the only people who do, because like zombies are like grunt, groan, whatever, and then that's all they do, specifically designer or whatever. So I was like, let's write something because I want to hear it. So like and then Don Bean, a local rapper, poet too, he was like, yo, I really love that piece. Let's do it together. And it's kind of what it turned into. It got filmed by Right About Now out of Houston. We went to the National Poetry Slam in Denver back in August, and now has like 600,000 views on Facebook. Yeah.
Jesus.
What kind of reaction?
Not that Ryan's counting.
Yeah, not that I'm counting. Not that I get every notification from that video, but I do.
And you like each and every one of them, right?
They're all, well, it depends.
Because I asked, because last time I saw you perform it, you introduced like this is
a controversial bump. Yeah, because it was just like, so they range from, oh my gosh, this is amazing, to you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about, sit down. Like, there was somebody who was like, I don't listen to people who don't have, or who have kids, and it's like who aren't married, have kids, make below $50,000 a year, like can't care about themselves. Just really like disparaging comments, and it's just people like feel really upset about mumble rap and hip hop and everything. So it's just But I mean, like I'm like you're giving me views, and that's what I need.
Yeah, that's
so
what you need.
Like,
I don't even understand that. I mean, I'm arguably an old head. I grew up like Public Enemy and Beastie Boys. Yeah. Those were all my introductory points, and it's just like, and I'm just like, this shit's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Because there was a point in the poem where I think it was like, I don't want to quote it because I'll probably butcher it, but about basically, in essence, turning a funeral into a party.
Yeah.
That whole aspect of it. It's just like, life is fucking hard, and we've just got to let go sometimes.
Yeah, most definitely. I think what people, particularly in the black community, which is like, that's a lot of my poetry addresses, because I am black. What?
Spoiler alert.
Surprise.
I know I don't sound like it. No, anyway. We are a variety of people. So like, but particularly in the black community, people feel like they have to be woke 24/7 and that they can't enjoy themselves in life. And so it's like everybody always wants to be angry, and they always want to like harp upon the issues that we have. And it's like sometimes we have to realize that we're allowed to have joy too, and that we're allowed to actually like steep in that, and actually like enjoy ourselves with the people that we're around and everything. And so that was my main thing, is like, yo, you may not like this, you may not like how it sounds, but at the same time, what they're really doing is just enjoying themselves and having a good time. And we got to take a second and do that for ourselves sometimes, you know. So
I need that reminder.
Yeah, exactly. Like high blood pressure and like, anxiety and stuff like that. Like it's 24/7. I don't want to like having to sit and think about police brutality all the time. It gives me, it just fucks with me. So it's like I'd rather just sit down and like if I have the opportunity to sit down and like enjoy myself and not think about that every once in a while. So yeah, so it's like you can have that duality and do both, and like be woke and also be kind of carefree.
Yeah.
But you just have to like manage that.
Life is ups and downs. It can't just be one thing, because any one thing too extreme is just boring as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Completely. Yeah.
You get to celebrate small victories too.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not have the complete change that you want, but do we ever always get those things? So it's like it's the little things in life. So it's like, have a good day, write a good piece, have a good show, whatever it might be. It's like, hey, let's celebrate that. And we can still be focused on these issues, but hey, high five. Let's go grab a beer, that
exactly.
kind of thing. So.
It's super stressful.
Can you perform that piece on the show, or do you need somebody with you?
I would need a Don with me. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a group piece. Yeah. So
I can fill in.
I'll give you the transcript, man. We can go.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Might be a couple words you got to skip over, but
you can't say some stuff.
I mean, I could maybe edit, just speed up like your tone a little bit, because we'll be reading it really monotone.
And I basically don't have any rhythm when it comes to that kind of stuff. I can drum. I can like drum my fingers really good, So.
I was to say, and his parts are all like the rhymey parts too, like the ones that sound like rap. So you would have to be like, yeah.
We could do like a parody version.
What would that sound like? Oh, so there's this thing that they do at Java every year called Spoof Slam, which is basically like we take people's pieces that like they perform regularly and then like perform basically like the antithesis of it.
Oh,
so
that's great.
like I have this piece called Nigga in a Hat, and somebody performed Wasp in a Hat. So it's just like stuff like that.
I was mad he beat me to it because I was gonna write Cracker in a Truck.
Yeah. So it's the stuff like, so we want to do the parody of it. We definitely can. I'm down for it.
We can make that a Lit&Bruised exclusive.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because it will be exclusively only listened to by us.
You talk about getting bad comments after doing something. People are like, this guy's terrible.
I feel like
what should happen is Ryan, you just do your lines and you say whatever you think goes with it.
Is that what mumble rap is?
Maybe. Yeah.
Kind of, maybe.
I know I've heard it. I know I've heard this.
I mean, Migos.
It's funny. Matt talked about Migos a lot before they were got the big shout out. Before they were the Atlanta stuff and all that. And Matt would talk to me about them, and I was like, "That's cool." Because we'd come over. I'd go over to his house, and we'd be putting together books and whatnot. And he'd just be playing stuff like constantly. And I was like, hey, this is cool. Like, whatever, man. I like it. It's fine. And it's also the man's house, so I'm not going to be like, hey, can you turn that down a little bit? I mean, I'm trying to focus here.
Sorry, you're not bringing old country into my house.
Yeah, and but it was fine. And but I do like Migos. Migos is good. I mean, as much as I've listened to them, you know what I mean? But that's the other thing, too. I think a lot of times, even with music and taste and things, is I think in my early throughout my 20s, I was pretentious about a lot of music. I was like, if I didn't like it, I was like, it sucks.
Yeah.
And it was even in the genres of music that I listened to. And then I realized that I was just an asshole. I was just a dick. Because my thing is no matter what you listen to, if you like it and it makes you happy and you're having a good time, fuck yeah, man, that's awesome. Because what I'm doing then by being pretentious is I'm just being cranky. And I'm not having fun. And you're over there having a great time. You can give a flying fuck about what I think.
Right.
So I got in my late 20s and I just kind of realized I was like, hey man, just because something's not for me doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not my thing, and that's cool. I can appreciate it.
That's like the distinction of like being like, oh, that's not for me. That doesn't mean it. That doesn't like take away its like relevance or its importance. It's like, oh, it just wasn't meant for me. Like it's meant for somebody else who enjoys that kind of thing.
And I don't think mumble rap was probably meant for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I got to be honest. You guys just met me, but you probably like that. On a scale of 1 to 10, like mumble rap, he's like maybe like a 2.5. But but I could learn. I could get up to like a 6 or a 7.
Hey, if you're really really wanted to, man. It's pretty inviting, actually. That
I'm gonna get on Spotify and pull up some mumble rap.
I would recommend. It's like the worst best album ever is Ray Shremmer and Shrimp Life. Like it's just party hits, nothing but party hits. But it's like such a great album just because it's so mindless and like just very fun to jam out to. But also, it's a great introduction to like all that stuff.
You guys might have cured me of some things because I like to read books on existentialism, and sometimes I just gotta like turn it off.
Most definitely.
And it sounds like mumble rap might be the cure for a lot of like anxiety and this existential crisis that I have.
It's like medicinal marijuana.
Yeah,
just in music form.
Yeah, some strains might get you a little excited.
Yeah.
Some strains might make you just want to lean back in the couch.
Yeah, most definitely. Like 110%.
Can we go ahead and wrap this episode up so I can get into this?
That's all we want to talk about today.
So, how long have you guys? So, you all met at Java Monkey. How long? Like, when was that? I mean, has it been a couple of years? 6 months ago?
A year and a half.
It's been a year and a half. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's relatively new. Yeah.
I've only been over there once and that's that. Are you guys talking about Teresa Davis's show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got over there, and man, that
Java Monkey Speaks.
Speaks. And I had to leave and go to a meeting, but I got about 45 minutes in. And it's crazy, you go to like a normal like literary reading that's like 3 readers and you get 10 minutes. Like you might be able to catch all 3 of them in that sort of window if they're cranking. Holy shit, man, I saw like 25 people in like 30 minutes. I was like, I'm on overload. I should probably just leave anyway. It was it was a cool show and it was a fun crowd. And I really enjoyed myself. It was cold. Holy shit, it was cold that day.
When did you go?
I was probably about like 6 weeks ago, probably like one of the first cold snaps we had.
Yeah.
And man, but it was super fun. I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the camaraderie because there were people there that I could tell that, they just show up and do their thing. Maybe there's older people that maybe had never done anything with writing before. But what I found interesting was that like, somebody got there and like sang like a song like to their friend, and it was like some like old crooner song. And I was like, this is interesting. But everybody everybody reacted so positively to them doing that. They were like, hey, that's awesome, man. Like that's you expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't pretentious at all. And I was like, man, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
This isn't my place, so I don't know who this is, but these people like obviously care about this person. And it sounds like anybody that got up there, they get a hand clap as long as they weren't, saying fucked up shit, so.
Oh yeah, there's been a couple times. Oh man, one of the more like favorite like anecdotes that people always. But hey, do you remember when this happened? Was like there was a slam, right? And so slam is like scored. It's a competition, all that. And this dude got up. His name. You can find him on YouTube. His name is Reverend Pat. A very interesting gentleman. And he did a poem about how his friend had always wanted to suck a horse's dick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he went into great detail. Not greatly written detail, just great detail.
Yeah, he did another poem.
Oh, he's done several. There's one about how he wanted to stick his finger in Justin Bieber's butt to see if his shit stank because Justin Bieber acted like his shit didn't stink.
Oh my God.
He had another one where it was like, the devil doesn't want you to have anal sex, or like, or something.
No, I remember that quote.
That's Dave.
Satan doesn't want you to get fucked in the ass because Satan doesn't want you to have fun.
So it's like you get shit like that, and then it's like, oh, okay, why the fuck did you come? If you're really gonna make an ass of yourself. But
y'all got his number. We might want to have him on the podcast.
I'm telling you, you can find him on YouTube.
Yeah.
He has like a channel.
Book him for birthday parties.
Oh,
What do you want to just talk to the kids?
Bar mitzvahs. Like.
We couldn't afford a clown. So does he get stopped or
no? You let him finish, and I mean, especially in a slam, like he's gonna get scored, so he's probably not gonna do another poem because they cut a few people. I think his total score the way slam works is you have 5 random judges, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's a 0 to 10 is what they get to do, and it's with a decimal point. So and then they drop the high score, they drop the low score, like with like figure skating or whatever at the Olympics. And so the highest possible score you can get is a 30. I think his score was like a 4.
Oh,
wow. Yeah.
Like it was rough. But you know, that's how you keep people in check.
Yeah,
So,
you got to set a bottom. You got to set that sometimes.
Yeah, the community really reacts negatively to stuff like that. So like they'll let you know. Yeah. So,
but I think it's hilarious personally, as long as I don't have to talk to the person who did the poem afterwards.
Do you get like a burner phone and like text Reverend Pat? You're like, hey man, we missed you up here at Java Monkey. He's like, who is this? You're like, he's like, who is this? You're like, Teresa.
It's Kodak. Please come back.
please come back. Yeah.
It's like, so I was looking to give you a book deal, man. Why don't you get up here? It's like every week, it's like a new lie to try to get him up there to say fucked up shit.
No, I don't need it every week. I don't definitely like he'll like randomly show up like once or twice a year, and I'm like, oh, tonight's gonna be weird.
That's got to set the tone for the whole night. You're just like, all right. Everything I thought about tonight is different.
Yeah.
Which is it's also interesting, like from a hosting standpoint, to be like, oh, I know, like once you're there, you like know a few people, and you're like, oh, this person's gonna make people uncomfortable, blah blah blah. So you have to kind of like, you don't want to just put that person up first, even though you kind of want to just get them out of the way, but like. Because then all the people who haven't been here before will be like, oh, that's what this is? I'm good. I'm going to leave and never come back. So it's like, I don't know, it's an interesting dynamic. And yeah, Java Monkey.
Front load with like heavy hitters. Maybe put that guy like after like 6 people that are awesome and then backload it.
It's weird. Because usually at Java Monkey, like the people who are like the real regulars and the people who like have a more of a reputation for being really good are like going towards the end of like the first half of the open mic. But then I think every host does it a little differently. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic just in the whole with any open mic. Anytime you have hey, anyone can come sign up and say anything they want, like you never know what you're gonna get.
No.
So
I mean, and you never know how you fit into it as well.
Right.
Like like at a thing like a Java Monkey where you're like, you get called up. Have you ever had a moment where you're just like, all right, I'm changing right now what I'm reading?
Oh yeah,
most definitely. There's actually, I think it was Reverend Pratt. He wrote a poem about younger folk, and it was just like really fucked up. And I wrote a poem while he was on stage, like, and was like, I'm going to get up here and do that when I get up and when I get the chance, like, yeah. So it's like it's really influenced by what the room's feeling or what you're feeling that night, you know.
And I've definitely had instances where somebody did a poem and it just made me think of a different poem I had. I'm like, oh, that kind of just makes sense with that. Or like a lot of times if like poetry sometimes can get like real heavy and real serious. So if everybody's being serious, I'm like, I'm definitely doing a funny poem because this shit is overwhelming. Like, or the vice versa, like where like everybody's like doing like happy stuff or like doing a bunch of love poems. I'm like, oh, I want to make everyone feel bad now. Like I want to be sad and depressed. So that's what we're going to switch the tone. So you know,
was Java the first place you performed when you got here when you started writing?
Yep. And the first time I went, I got called up first, very first. I was like, I just Kodak was up there. It's like, all right, Nate Mask. And I was like, awesome, great. I was like, went up there with my hood up still because I was like nervous and heartbroken and depressed.
I remember when I first started doing literary readings, I never wanted to go first and always wanted to go like middle of the pack, just like mix me in there, let me be forgotten if possible. And nowadays I love going first. People like you'll go to a show and maybe the lineup isn't set and they're like, who wants to go first? I'm like, I'll do it. Like, I don't care. It's like, I kind of like opening the show up. And you get out of the way. And you're not just sitting there, like, having to think about it. Like, oh, shit, I got to headline this
thing. The rest of the night, enjoy people's without thinking about yourself.
You can get drunk and then not slur on stage, I mean,
everybody's going to see you, too, because you're the first person to go. Everybody just got it.
Going first is great, especially if you're, like, kind of like... Because I like to bring it, I've done enough readings now where I'm like, all right, I can turn it on and, at least get some excitement going on. Because you don't want somebody up there the first one who's like, I'm going to read my story about my cat dying when I was 7. You're like, oh, it's like what you're talking about, like bummer night, It's like, I don't want people to think this is what it is, so.
Yeah, with open mics, it's usually like the host goes first, so nobody else has to. They're like, oh, we'll go ahead and get this out the way, and then most of the time they end up fucking up, too, so they're like, oh, I fucked up, so now you don't have to, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
That
breaks the ice,
Yeah, trying to get everybody
in the icebreaker.
Yeah, it's a... nice spot.
So anyway, back to doomsday prepping.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask Ryan. You are the founder of HomeGrown Poetry.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Which is awesome for our listeners. I mean, why don't you, for our listeners, explain HomeGrown Poetry?
Yeah, so HomeGrown Poetry is a video platform that showcases spoken word artists in Atlanta. So we usually frequent events like Java Monkey Speaks, Art Amok, which happens every first Tuesday at Red Light Cafe. We go to Urban Grind every once in a while, which is like every Thursday at Urban Grind Coffee House out in the West Midtown area. And then Curate, which I'm not sure if they're still going to be doing stuff, but it's usually like every third Friday or something like that. So it was really weird starting that. It was just like, I had been around for a couple months and I saw that like nobody was really recording anything. And I was like, well, I have a video camera, and the thing that helps spoken word artists more than anything else is having video and like recordings and stuff like that, so they can show people and show agents if they want an agent or stuff like that, have stuff to submit, or if they want to go on tour, they have like material and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and film stuff and just give it to people when they want it. And then it just turned into this, it kind of spurned into this whole thing where it was like, okay, well, you know what, I'm just going to turn it into an actual platform. We will put out videos weekly, and that way people can just come and see the stuff if they want to see.
Look it up on YouTube, HomeGrown Poetry.
Yeah, so if you're ever out in Atlanta, that's usually like most of the people that are like regulars that like constantly like perform at events are like on the channel and stuff like that. And then sometimes we have people that are from like out of town and stuff. So it's been a pretty like nice ride so far. So we officially turn, as an LLC, we turn a year this month. So
awesome!
Yeah,
congratulations!
Thank you.
And it's something that's so needed to like have that basically.
Yeah.
Cataloging what's going on within the community, as well
for sure.
as as you said, it's a great way to grow. I remember walking in Java Monkey. I remember I saw you filming something, and I was like, all right, this is nice. I always wondered. I'm like, why aren't people filming more readings?
Yeah.
We're all on these computers. We keep spreading what we're doing past these walls.
Yeah, and we're trying to kind of expand outside of just poetry events, because I think that's, like you just said, like that's something that's necessary, is like getting the word out outside of just word of mouth and just Facebook posting, because if people can see beforehand what they're missing, then I think they'll probably want to go.
Oh, hell
more,
yeah.
And so like we, I'm kind of trash, but we filmed Right Club like on their, what anniversary?
Some anniversary.
Yeah, this, I think it was like
an anniversary.
Yeah, I think it was like either their 4 or like 6 year, I think.
Like every night at Right Club is an anniversary of some sort.
It feels like it. Yeah, so we filmed their anniversary. I'm just trash at editing videos. I mean, I can do it, and it just takes me a while, and so like kind of been sitting on that. But like so we're kind of trying to get out a little bit more and film some more of those events and stuff like that.
And we're also gonna try to do some kind of behind the scenes like tour, like vlogging, or just kind of like just show behind the scenes on our tour, because it like gives another, like, it's poetry related, but it gives like people a little bit of insight into like what goes into like touring. And also weird funny stuff happens to us when we go places, so it'll just be fun to like have like that like documented also.
And touring for literature, spoken word it's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, because actually, when this airs, you guys will actually be in Canada at that time.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah.
Hopefully, not having survival back.
I feel like we're gonna need it. It's gonna be so cold out there, but yeah, most definitely. It's
assuming
so
they let us in the country,
right?
Or out of the country, or whichever.
Passports don't expire. No, it's just so wild to think that we're actually going out that way. Because had you asked me a year ago that if we'd be in the Pacific Northwest for a month, I would have been like, that seems impossible. So,
if you had asked me if I would be in the Pacific Northwest, period, I'd have like, why?
In general, yeah.
Sounds cold.
Yeah. And so that's
Pacific Northwest is beautiful.
Oh yeah,
I've heard it is.
Yeah, I was out in Spokane in October for the individual World Poetry Slam.
Okay,
and competing against like 90 other poets or whatever. And that was like the first time I'd ever been on the West Coast. And so like Spokane was fucking beautiful. It's just such a like everything, like the trees actually change colors there versus here where everything just dies. Like so,
it's actual season.
Yeah. So it was really beautiful out there. So I'm excited to go back out that way. So it was a great time. There was a poetry slam in Black Mountain in North Carolina, and we stayed in what was that? What's the name of the city?
Brevard.
Yeah, Brevard.
Not to be confused with Bat Cave, which is the actual name of the town.
Name of this, not
an Airbnb. because we were looking at
the fucking cake.
Anything can be named anything. There's intercourse in hand in Pennsylvania. Everything's fair game.
Oh yeah, Brevard was pretty cool. Or Asheville was okay. It was the
we had fun. We made it interesting.
Yeah, made some money and then lost it all at the same time. So
we didn't lose it.
You definitely spent it at the strip club.
And for the record,
you knew where it went.
We didn't win money. You won money because I got screwed out of that slam. So
yeah, most definitely.
And then got robbed of a waffle at Waffle House.
But we got free. The thing is,
robbed of a waffle.
Okay, so the thing is,
it's not waffle. It was waffle.
We walk in a Waffle House, and we're both drunk as fuck from the strip club.
Whoa. We were just mildly intoxicated.
I was drunk, and he was mildly intoxicated from the strip club. And we walk in, and this woman's about to get off her shift, and she was like, "Are you guys trying to order food?" And we're like, "Yeah." She was like, "I'm just going to give it to you for free." And so we're like, "Okay, word, yeah." And so we order, and I think you ordered like was it like the All-Star or something like that?
Yeah, like everything. I wanted like one of everything.
Yeah.
That's basically the All-Star.
Yeah. And then he tips pretty heavy because it's like, yeah, we just got free food. Here's a good tip, whatever. And we get back to the Airbnb, and there's no waffle. And
I was fucking mad.
Oh, dude, made a whole Instagram story about it. Like, there's no fucking.
I went on a rant on Instagram. It's like just drunk in this lady's basement. Like Donna's upstairs trying to sleep. And I'm like, they left out my fucking waffle. It's Waffle House. How you leave out the waffle?
Yeah, I was sitting there eating my hash browns. Like, you got to calm down, man. I guess no waffle, Ryan.
What I find interesting though is that you all not just ate Waffle House, but you got it to go.
Yeah,
I almost feel like that's like kind of a cardinal sin. Like, I don't know. I mean, how well does it keep?
I mean, we were just like driving it to the
Airbnb.
Wasn't too bad. I love Waffle House. Every once in a while, I'll just be sitting around. I'm like, I can't believe there's not one on Ponce, really.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I drive to Decatur and go to Waffle House. And it's funny, I always end up taking people who've never been. And I'm like, you've never been to
How are there still people who have never been to Waffle House?
I know, it's crazy, dude. It's more than you'd think, man. You know?
Yeah, that's probably why we didn't get your waffles, because they were offended we didn't stay. We're like,
so I was also, but like she was trying to leave. Like her shift was over. She wasn't trying to stay and wait on
no,
us.
she wasn't. Yeah.
So
maybe she like they didn't have any waffles. She's like, well, they're getting it for free anyway. Fuck them.
So I mean,
hey man, I'm sorry.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Sorry about that.
A lost waffle. That's sad.
Yeah.
That was also the same trip we hitchhiked outside of a prison.
So we get there. Neither of us are the most punctual people.
No.
So we get there and we drove from Atlanta. We get there right about the time we need to catch the shuttle from where you park to get to where the slam is. And there's this just enormous line of people like waiting for the shuttle, and they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like 45 minutes, and we're like, oh no, we need to be there in like 30. And I was like, how far is it? She was like, oh, it's like 2 miles. I was like, let's run. Can you run? Like, all right. So we just like take off and start running. I'm wearing like not running pants.
Neither am I. And I'm out of shape.
Yeah. And so were
they orange pants?
No. But then we get there like alongside the prison. It's across the street from where you park. And then we're like, all right, we gotta walk for a little while. All right. And so we're like trying to like hitchhike. And then we're like, we'd walk for a while. I'm like, are you ready to run yet? And Ryan would be like, no. And then we'd keep walking. I'm like, Ryan, you good now? He's like, yeah. All right, look, we're gonna run for a little while. And then we get up. And finally, what was her name?
I forget
Jen.
her name.
Her name was Jen.
Jen or
yep.
Jessica?
No, it was Jen.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. There's a nice lady named Jen picked us up. She was like, I really just stopped so I didn't hit you. And we're like, all right, cool. But she like gave us a ride into like the arts festival or whatever, where we both got screwed out of
money. Yeah.
Man, I'm excited for these videos. I hope your next tour is as terrible as your past, just for entertainment's sake.
Yeah.
We're going to be ridiculous no matter how well it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I hope it goes well.
Yeah. That's why you got a good name for the tour. The whole nobody likes us, but we're here anyway.
Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll be.
That was actually a poet in Atlanta, Quez. That was his idea. I like posted it on Facebook. It was like, oh hey, so if Ryan and I went on tour, what should it be called? And he was like one of the first people to comment, and everyone else was just like, yep, that's it. Yep,
It's accurate.
Cosign. Yep.
Yeah, and What you want to say? My bad. oh no, yeah. I was amazed that people would book us. Like, you know, you guys are like, nobody likes us, but we're here anyway. And it's like, I'm going to take a chance on them. Like that's, you know,
especially when you're going across the country too.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's like,
and that's you know, to bring it full circle. That's why the videos are helpful, because you're like, hey, look, these are videos of us doing poems.
Yeah,
we're legitimate people, not con men.
Yeah, we didn't just start doing this yesterday.
Most definitely.
I felt like when we did like 5 days through the South, and I kind of felt that way too. I was like, man, this is crazy. People are gonna like actually like let us come in here and do stuff. I mean, talk about the kind of like the fraud syndrome, you know?
Yeah.
You're just like, is that the term?
Imposter?
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
Means the same thing.
But
Yeah, you're just sitting there, and we were reading at some of these. I mean, half of the readings were good. 2 of them were terrible. But I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
that's
part
how
of
it
it.
goes.
Great.
Yeah, but it was interesting. You're just like, all right, these people are like they like treat you like you're special. And
Yeah.
you're like they won't even book me in Atlanta anymore. I had to go on this tour so I could do some readings.
I learned to enjoy the bad ones because that made the better ones. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
we have food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
We had fun of the bad ones. We had the bad one at the bookstore,
But
and then the Asheville one was bad.
Yeah, but the one that
Is that why the guy tried to fight you?
before the
Because I want my money.
the one before Asheville was so bad that we were like, I was the sober one, so I had to drive, and it was like, all right, let's just drive to Asheville. I didn't want to stay in the stale place.
Spartanburg.
Okay, so what would you consider? What's considered bad in your?
We read for the people at the bookstore who work there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't announce it or
They didn't, like,
market
promote it at all.
And then there was a poet that was like an intern there or something, and he was supposed to like read, so they would have some like local pool, and then he didn't even show up.
Yeah, he went to some party, and they're like, "Oh, you guys can read, and then we'll go over to the party." It's just like, no. And then as they describe the party, it's like, oh, so this isn't a parking lot, like a public parking
We
lot.
never found it.
Yeah.
And I bought it was like it was in downtown Spartanburg, which was like a block, and I had gone into a wine shop. I was like, ooh, a wine shop. And I bought a bottle of wine. I was sitting there drinking it, and then I was drinking it during the 20-minute reading, and I drank the whole bottle in like that 20-30 minutes that we were there. And I'm walking down the sidewalk, and people were looking at me because there was like kids playing in the front yard. I was like, "Hey, kids!" And then like dad's like walking to the door, like looking out the window.
Tried to steal a bike.
I just
You kept wanting to wrestle in front of the police station.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Dude, man.
Yeah.
I drove us out of that town to save us.
Well, they paid you guys, right? You got paid at least.
No, we ain't get none.
Oh, man.
There's a poet.
We did not negotiate that tour well at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a poet who I won't name who is like, if you don't get paid, just steal the mic and steal the amp until you get your money. He's like, just walk out with the.
He was also talking about a show that he had been. There was an agreement to be paid.
Yeah, but also
it wasn't just like.
But also, he could.
But it's still fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
Our Asheville show was awesome too because they did sign somebody to read, but then he came in and he read first because he was basically on his break. He was like a dishwasher, like at a bar down the street, and he came in and like the place filled up. And we're like, "Oh, this is rad!"
Yeah.
And he read, and then he left, and then everybody left with him.
Wow.
And it was like. An old friend of mine that lived in Nashville was sitting there, and there was like some old lady in the back.
Yeah.
And I
just made eye contact with her the whole time. It's like, here's my existential thing of where I'm still not getting over being raised religious.
Yeah. thanks for coming. You know? But we had other ones that were good though. So I mean, the bad ones are funny though. We don't really talk about the good ones too much. We talk about the bad ones.
Oh yeah,
they're funnier. You know, so.
Those are the lasting impressions. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Like, always the terrible.
How
ones.
you weathered the storm.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm hoping a lot of the places we're going are places that kind of they book people on the regular. I think we probably only have like 1 or 2 shows where they don't necessarily do features every once in a while. So I think we should be like in good hands, hopefully. But I don't know. We never know. So and it's really wild. Like the scenes are really different too. So Atlanta is like way different than up there.
Yeah.
Like
because there's black people here.
Yeah. So it's really.
Go ahead. I was trying to set you up,
I have a chip on my shoulder about the Pacific Northwest when it comes to like the black population. So I was out there for the individual World Poetry Slam back in October, like I mentioned earlier, and it's similar to like the Women of the Worlds. I think when I was listening to Teresa's, she was explaining that where it's like 90 other poets or whatever, and they put you in these micro bouts where you're going up against like 4 or 5 other poets, and you have to do a 1 minute, a 2 minute, a 3 minute, a 4 minute piece. And so I get out there, and my 4 minute piece, I get second place. My 3 minute, okay. So the way, my bad, I'm explaining this really wildly. But
I'm following.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
So the way they rank you is that you do each of your different length pieces, and then they rank you per length. So like if you get first place, each round essentially. So your 4 minute, if you get first place, whatever, and they add up your total rank at the end of it. And so like your total rank goal like that you're trying to get is like a 4 because you want to be at the top of the list or whatever. Yeah. But the one you're kind of like, I think cutoff is like 8 in order to make it in the finals. And so my 4 minute piece, my 4 minute piece, I get second place. My 3 minute piece, I get second place. My 2 minute piece, I get second place. And then my 1 minute piece, I get sixth place, which completely fucked me. But it was because I did a piece about black people eating Southern food. And we're in the Pacific Northwest where there are no black people and there is no Southern food. And so it got completely fucked where, it was a piece about grits and how, people eat sugar with grits, and it's
they don't.
Yeah, it's blasphemous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Ohio, and I didn't even know what grits was until I moved here.
And that's so weird to me. It's just I asked. We got into an Uber afterwards, and I asked the guy in the Uber. I was like, "Yeah, man. So just a wild question. Do you guys eat grits out here?" He was like, "No, not regularly." And I was like, "Do you know what grits are?" He was like mashed up cornbread, and I was like, "Ah, oh, never mind."
Mashed up cornbread.
I was like, "Yeah, I fucked myself." Like, yeah. So, I have a really weird relationship with them and black people. So,
which is why Ryan's really excited that we're going to be out there when Black Panther comes out.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, there's going to be none of us, just me in the theater by myself, taking up 6 seats.
I mean, I'll be in the theater. I don't count as a black person, but I'll be there. I'll be. Yeah. Anyway.
There'll just be a bunch of white people sitting around wondering when Tony Stark's going to show up.
Did they actually film this in Wakanda? Yeah, most definitely.
What's Tony showing up, man? This movie's kind of weird.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. So
when does Black Panther come out?
February 16th.
Man, that shit looks tight.
Oh yeah, on my calendar, definitely. Yeah,
that does look good.
You saw be in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. You saw like the pre-sale stuff, like they're selling out tickets everywhere. People doing GoFundMe's rated in like $30,000 to buy like kids in the area tickets and stuff like that. It's super wild.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. Just
look at that. We brought it back around to a positive note. I like that. So speaking of positive notes, are you guys going to read for us or what? Like, what's the deal here?
Man, I really thought you were about to go to a 9/11 thing. Lose my shit.
Not
that our poems are.
I'm on point. I'm on point today. I'm staying focused here, y'all.
You got it first.
No, you got your fucking phone out, man. You ready? I don't even know what I'm doing. You know what poem you're doing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So Ryan's going to read first. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm going to do a piece about zombies, which isn't really about zombies at all. It's called Zombies in the Dark. One of these days, someone's going to fuck around and give me a movie deal. And I'll make a movie about time-traveling zombies, which, yes, is as wild as it sounds. These zombies will not eat people. They will not slink down alleyways existing, aka waiting to do you harm. These zombies will be revolutionary. They'll find joy in their corpsehood. They'll time travel and not have to worry about whether their dreams are realistic or whether someone will mistake their moans for screaming or their laughter for shouting. These zombies won't have to think about when and where they aren't welcome or the names people might call them: ghoul, monster, thug, black. These zombies will find joy in their bodies, in the graves that belong to them, in spaces away from humans. And I'll name these zombies too, to make their existences more permanent, to increase the spaces they occupy. And I'll call them brother, sister, mom, dad, and I'll call them important, love, foundation, and they'll love each other, and they'll love their communities, and they'll love their languages, and no one will take that from them. These zombies, they'll have every reason to keep living, because you can't kill them. They can't die again. They have nothing to lose, because they're zombies, damn it. The least they deserve is this movie, where they can finally be free. And maybe the first scene can go a little something like this. Act 1, Scene 1, zombie spits poems to apocalypse survivors before dinner. I don't understand why y'all keep screaming, running. I heard Jesus got a round of applause when he came back from the dead. All I want is a cup of brains, or maybe a heart. I don't understand why that is too much to ask for. It's not like y'all are using them anyway. Please stop asking me how I'm dead and still walk amongst you. Stop telling me that most zombies sit in their graves and wait for someone to come and wake them. Stop asking me how it feels to know that you are human and still feel like you don't belong here. It's like wanting to go home when you're already at home. Besides, it looks like you already have a few zombies amongst you, or at least that's how you treat them. Like dead person walking. Refuse to feed them hearts or ears, instead only let them eat bullets, and then wonder how we got here. To this poem, to this stack of bodies in the graveyard. Oh, who was I before I died? I think I was depressed. Or black. I don't know. They both sound so similar. Like playing dead. Or zombie practice.
Woo! That was some powerful shit, man.
Thanks, man.
I was thinking, I was like, I'm assuming he's probably going to go deep and metaphorical with this. Maybe he's not going to mention Carl, but that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That was great.
Yeah,
so,
appreciate it.
Man, is this weird? You gotta like, now you gotta like, are you guys like competing here?
Always.
Yeah.
110%.
It's like you're going on tour together. I guess y'all are used to this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we have Java Monkey Finals tomorrow night, so
Yeah.
we'll be competing against each other
Like
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
So
always competing. I love that.
yeah.
Are you ready, Nate?
Yeah, I guess so.
Bring it.
So yeah, I guess I'll stick with the. I guess this fits sort of with the post-apocalyptic theme. I don't know. Maybe I can't even talk. We'll see. It was the fall of 2016. In the midst of the shit show that was the 2016 election, conservative radio talk show host and former one-term Congressman Joe Walsh and Donald Trump Jr. tweeted a very similar statement about the Syrian refugee crisis. It read, "If I had a bowl of Skittles and I told you 3 would kill you, would you eat a handful? That's our Syrian refugee problem." Now, we'll ignore the obvious statistical inaccuracies, flawed logic, and continuity errors that exist in this argument and get to the real problem that is this asinine statement. As Skittles' parent company Mars responded in a tweet of their own, "Skittles are candy. Refugees are people. It's an inappropriate analogy," and even added, "We respectfully decline from any further comment on this matter, as that could be misinterpreted as marketing." And like that, a fucking candy manufacturer became the voice of reason and civility in a chaotic world, because they're right. You can't compare candy to people. It's not even comparing apples to oranges, because those are at least both fruit. One is chewy artificial flavoring in a crunchy, colorful shell. The other is a sentient being capable of emotion, logic, reason, thought, feeling, redemption, etc., etc. But for the sake of argument, for shits and giggles, say you have a bowl of Skittles, right? And in that bowl, you had one orange Skittle with a shitty toupee, one misogynistic, xenophobic, bigoted, racist, tiny-handed, thin-skinned Skittle with the vocabulary of a 4th grader who didn't think before firing off his baseless, misguided opinions on Twitter when his feelings got hurt. And then that orange Skittle began to poison other Skittles with his hate speech, and then somehow rose to a position of power, placed other supremely unqualified Skittles in high-ranking positions in his Skittle administration, and then started trying to take away Skittle health care, passing laws about the female Skittles' bodies without their input, and then trying to take away freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and other constitutional Skittle rights. And then he decided he wanted to build an unreasonably expensive wall around the bowl and tried to kick some colors of Skittles out, even though they weren't doing anything wrong and were just trying to improve their Skittle lives. And then started destroying the bowl and the table the bowl was on, while denying that Skittles were having an impact on the bowl and the table, even though science proved otherwise, and then started pissing off entire other bowls of Skittles, called some bowls shitholes, while increasing the likelihood of serious table-wide conflict and or violence, all within the orange Skittles' first couple of months in charge of the bowl. Now, say you had this bowl of Skittles. Would you say, fuck it, it's not worth the trouble, this batch is too far gone, and dump the whole bowl out? Or would you take out the orange Skittle with the shitty hair and a few of his Skittle sidekicks and dispose of them far, far, far the fuck away from the bowl they attempted to poison, because you know that the rest of the bowl is so much better than that?
Damn, I'm so glad you read that. Because I was even saying before y'all came over, I was telling John, I was like, if he doesn't read the Skittle piece, I'm going to try and guilt him into reading it.
You played the beginning of it earlier,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, you started saying, I was like, oh, it's a Skittle piece. I can tell that you updated it though. With the
I almost fucked it up after I updated it. But
that was good though. You definitely transitioned. When I listen to y'all do your thing, it makes me like, I'm like, why do I go to fiction readings? I just need to go to like these slam readings because they're like, I love the metaphors and then the meanings behind it. It's just, I mean, you're talking about zombies, talking about Skittles, in which like I was like, if I told somebody, I was like, yeah, these guys are on the show today, talking about zombies and Skittles, they're like, oh, cool. And I'm like, nah, you're missing out. This shit is fucking awesome. So, no, both of you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing those pieces with us.
Definitely.
The first, we had Teresa when she was on the show last season, sitting there watching her do slam poetry sitting down. It was interesting. So I was kind of already prepared for it because I figured that's like, it's definitely like a standing sport.
Yeah, it's a little different. It feels a little weird.
Yeah. Feel confined. Like you want to move your body and it's like, it's really hard.
I mean, because like that's in the memory of like memorizing it.
Well, I also, a lot of time when I practice, it's while I'm driving. So it's not as weird, but like when you're like fully performing it, it's like, it's weird to be sitting down.
Does that make it easier to drive in Atlanta?
It's an outlet for sure for all my anger. I can just be yelling and swearing, at poems instead of everyone else I want to yell and swear at. So.
Have you ever just been driving and just practicing and somebody thinks that you're yelling and swearing at
I'm
them?
Sure.
Like,
I'm sure.
God, what's wrong with this guy? I better pull over.
It's even worse when you're walking in public and you're performing to yourself and you look like one of those people that's just like, talking to their imaginary friend.
Because I do it when I'm walking my dog too. Everybody at the park by my house probably thinks I'm out of my mind, which, I'm okay with. But
that's what that old homeless guy up in Decatur was doing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You remember him?
Yeah.
By the coffee shop?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I thought we were just going through.
No, I was thinking, the coffee shop that you used to work at in Decatur. There was a homeless gentleman. He was a very nice guy, and he was interesting because he never asked you for money or anything. Yeah. And I tried to give him money. I lived up there for a number of years, and he never wanted it. He was just hanging out. He was fine, and apparently he was around these. The businesses would let him like take out the trash and stuff and whatnot. Yeah. But he was interesting because sometimes I would just be walking around and I'd like happen upon him. I'd turn the corner and he's sitting there having a conversation. But maybe he was just practicing.
Maybe that's what he's doing. He's trying to get his poems right. Yeah.
That's wishful thinking. I'd like to hope so. You know what I mean? So,
he was really schizophrenic.
Yeah, he probably was. But I was just trying to maybe he's an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sure there are people walking around, like you said, that they're not crazy. They're just practicing their pieces.
Also, we're all a little bit crazy. So
yeah, we are.
You have to be an artist.
Sorry, I just took it there, guys. So, but anyway, y'all were amazing. Thank you all so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time and your energy, effort, talent. Yeah. It's cool to find out what people are doing in different just genres of literature in Atlanta. So we appreciate y'all sharing that with us and telling us your story a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, before we go, since this will air while y'all are on tour, is there anything else you want to plug?
Well, HomeGrown Poetry, as you mentioned, for sure. And then we also have we both have merchandise. We have tour merchandise. Also, if you happen to see us anywhere in public, we will probably have on us. And then we have a GoFundMe page to help fund the tour, which is it's just GoFundMe / nobody likes us - but we're here anyway. And then you can get there's any pretty much every level we have rewards. We got t-shirts, we got books, we got all kinds of stuff. So
and then follow us both on Instagram. Social media. I'm at Go Home Ryan on everything. So
it's a tour team. It's all done.
Yeah. And I'm Nate Mask Poetry on Facebook. It's all spelled out. On Instagram, it's and then the number 8 MASK Poetry. So yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks again for coming on, guys. And, do you have anything you want to add?
Party on.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.